a comparison between the two. This is the stock M42 flywheel, stock M20 flywheel. Put this one on top. Oh, and this is unsprung, sorry, not flywheel, clutch disc. It's an unsprung clutch disc because they have the dual mass flywheel with the basically the dual mass flywheel makes up for the unsprung clutch disc being like a sprung clutch disc, so it takes up like the play and makes it a lot smoother. But lining up the teeth, as you guys can see, BMW is awesome, and they made the teeth line up so that you can use the clutch disc from the M20 on the M42. As you can see, clutch disc is a slight bit bigger. Good amount of difference, along with the single mass flywheel holding a lot better. I'll show you it on the flywheel itself or over it. So as you can see, that's where this sits, about centered. So good distance, maybe like 1/4 of an inch, I'd say. Just eyeballing. And you see the difference with the M20 clutch disc. A whole lot less space. So that means I get more friction surface in both the clutch and the flywheel, and also that means that I can handle more torque and power with this clutch, even though it's a stock clutch, versus the M42's clutch. As you guys can see, this is about 3.5 millimeters, and this one's about 4 millimeters, so about 0.5 millimeter difference. But also just the way the clutch is set up, it's a lot stronger clutch since it's the single mass flywheel that it uses rather than the dual mass. You lose a lot of the power in the dual mass flywheel trying to compensate to make a smoother transition when you let your foot off the clutch. With the single mass flywheel, that's what the springs inside the clutch disc itself are for. So I should actually get a lot better grip from the clutch with this clutch and flywheel and everything, and I should actually pick up a lot of more momentum. And as you guys can see right here, clutch disc is pretty much like greased up. So I gotta sort out the issue with the transmission. I guess the front seal for the transmission is bad, along with the flywheel being a bit burned up, and this clutch disc doesn't look that great, a little bit old. So I'm gonna swap it out and see what I can get out of the single mass flywheel conversion. Alright, so just wanted to show you guys a quick side-by-side of the pressure plates also. You can kind of see the visual difference. This one's quite a bit bigger. Again, visual difference with the clutch also. So once I get out the flywheel, then I'll also show you guys that. And I figured out that seems the seal in the transmission is actually leaking also, along with a lot of extra unnecessary grease that was applied to this. So when this clutch sets back up, then or I set this clutch back up, then this should actually be making the power that I should be making. And I guess maybe the clutch might have been I guess slipping slightly or not completely holding the full amount of power, because the clutch disc The one that came out isn't that worn, but is maybe more soaked with a lot of oil and grease, and that's what's causing it to maybe slightly slip at kind of like an unnoticeable rate, especially with the dual mass flywheel. So once I get the flywheel out, then I'll show you guys that. But pretty simple to remove transmission from the E30 M42. Still gotta sort out the starter situation, because from what I read in the forums, you're apparently supposed to swap out the starter ring gear, or you can swap to a M20 starter, but it seems like the teeth on the flywheel that I have and the M42 flywheel are the same. Alright guys, so if you ever decide to do your clutch on your E30 M42, correct statement in the forums, there are two different size pilot shaft bearings. Basically because the E30, I guess the E30 model and maybe the E36 might be different, or it might just be the years that are different. But the E30 model G240 transmission that I have, the output shaft, the pilot bearing size is bigger, and there is two different size pilot bearings. So make sure you do get the correct size, because one size is bigger and one size is smaller. The new one that I got is the one on the left, which is the smaller one, and the old one is the one on the right, and that's the one that I need. So again, if you're doing something like that, take note of that, because that is a thing that you definitely need to figure out and find out. Alright guys, so I'm waiting on some parts, so I decided to pull out the input shaft, because I'm going to replace the input shaft seal. And if you're doing one of these again, it's always smart to replace these things, just because if they leak, then they'll destroy a brand new clutch, and then you have to go ahead and pull the stuff back down again. Pretty much, see right there, a lot of oil. So this is the little black seal in the middle is what I will be replacing for a new one, and that should stop the leaking.